Well, good morning, everyone. It is Friday, June 26th. We are 2 days out from our first church service back together. Really excited about that. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information as to what it's going to look like, why we've asked you to come early on Sunday morning, and just some very specific details about what to expect now. Yesterday, a group of us met, set up the chairs, and set up kind of the organizational structure and the signs and cleaning and all these different things. And so we've kind of discussed everything through, and we have a good idea of what we think is going to happen. And so I just wanted to give that to you. So, why have we asked for you to come early? Well, here's the deal. When you get here to the church, when you get the front two doors, they're going to be open. We're going to have them propped open. And you're going to see two greeters who are going to be outside. They'll be wearing masks, and they'll welcome you to the church. And they have to ask you a couple of questions. And so they're going to ask you questions. Do you have any of the following symptoms? And they'll have a list of those COVID-related symptoms. Again, the reason they're asking this is anybody who has a red flag in any of these questions is going to be asked to join us online, just so that we can keep those of us who are coming to church as safe as we can be. So that's good. That's what we're trying to do here. So that question will be asked. They'll ask if you've traveled outside of the country in the last 14 days, right? Some of the typical questions that you get asked when you go into most restaurants or anything like that in Banff. So you'll be asked that by those greeters. So that's going to take a few minutes. And so that's why we don't want everyone showing up right near kind of 10:30 when we're going to start, because having to ask all those questions and having everybody in the big line, it'll just make everything a little bit late. So if you can come early, that would be great. As we've set everything up, there are rows set up because frankly we don't know how many are going to come in families or cohort families that are allowed to sit beside each other, and who will come in individuals or groups of two or whatnot. And so we don't have a hard fixed number of exactly who can come, or how many, I should say, we can fit in our building. But when you do come in, then you're asked those questions. The greeters will then show you to the ushers. So you'll sanitize. You'll grab a mask if you want a mask. There's a couple other things like the offering will be there. We'll have some coloring pages, just the pages. Parents bring your own markers, pencil crayons, whatever. And then the ushers are going to take you to where you're going to be seated. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to pick, the usual spots or the usual sections of the church that you like to sit in. We have to fill it up a certain way. So we're going to lead. The ushers are going to lead you and show you where your designated seating is going to be. Then at 10:40, the doors are going to be closed, and that's it. So this is important. We cannot, how do I say this? We've decided that we're not going to ask the 4 volunteers, our ushers and our greeters, we're not going to ask them to just kind of hang out and wait for people who are going to be late and then miss the service. This is the first service we've had in quite a few months here, and we want them to be able to be a part of it. And so 10:30, we are going to start. 10:40, the doors will close. So if you do not make it here on time, there will not be a place for you for these first few weeks, and we're not sure how long exactly that's going to last. But so that's why it's important that we're asking you to be early. Our volunteers will be there kind of between 9:30 and 9:45. So basically anytime after 9:45, you can show up, and we will bring you through the process, ask you the questions. You'll get to the ushers. The ushers will seat you, and then you can visit with those who are kind of near and around you. We're going to have time of corporate scripture, of corporate prayer. We're actually even going to, depending on the flow of everything and how many people show up, we're going to have some time for some prayer requests and allow people to just share a little bit about what's going on. And then we're going to study through 1 John, and then we're going to finish. Ernie is going to kind of take the announcements, as he usually does, and remind us of how to observe the protocols and everything. Then we're going to release people. The ushers, again, are going to be the ones kind of asking people in certain places when it's time to get up and then to head out the back exit of the church. And then again, we just ask that you not just kind of all of a sudden mingle real tight right on our property. That kind of defeats the purpose of everything. And of course, once you're outside, like we can't make you do anything, but we would just ask that as long as you're on the church property, that you would observe all the rules and regulations, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to submit to our governments, to our authorities, and do things the proper way. So that's what that's going to look like. So really the big thing to note there is to be early, be prepared to answer those questions that you're going to be asked. And again, only Bow Valley residents are going to be invited in to join us for these first few services. And then we'll have our service together, and then that'll be what we're aiming for. So looking forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Please, again, don't be late. Make sure you're early, 10:40, everything's shut, and if you show up after that, there just won't be a place for you. As well as if we end up having more people than we expect, we only have room for a certain number of people. Now, again, there's no specific number because it depends how many families come. Because if you're a family of 5 or 6, you can all sit together. But if like 3 individuals come that have to sit isolated, that has a different effect on it. So we just want to encourage you to come early so that you make sure you have a spot to worship with us on Sunday. So 1 John 1:5-10 is what we'll be looking at. Really excited to worship with you. And looking forward to everything that the Lord will bring our way in the next coming days here. We will see you Sunday morning. Thanks. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.